Welcome back, it's Eugene here, and it has been a while. Today I want to tell you about the general ledger transactions. We're going to go through an example where we receive items into inventory. Then we're going to go through a production journal and a sale. So let's take a look at the more detailed agenda. From the last time, you remember that we have acquired, our fictitious business has acquired a 3D printer, and it was transferred from the owner to the business. Now let's transfer some filament. In order to print, we need some plastic. Then we're going to create a journal to manufacture a finished product. So we're going to take a look at which postings are involved in there. Going to record a sale that happened on an online marketplace, Etsy in this case. And we're going to calculate whether we made money or not. So let's start with the assumptions first before we transfer the inventory and create a journal. Typically a good roll of filament costs about $33. The weight of the item is going to be 200 something grams for the total cost of $9.11 for that item that we're going to manufacture. That item is quite a complex one. It's a evaporator cleaner tool so that your car smells fresh, and it takes about 13 hours to print. At $0.50 an hour, that's going to be an accumulated depreciation of $6.75, and together with the filament, this is going to form a basis for my cost of goods sold. Now let's dive into the system and take a look at how we reflect this in the accounting. In Dynamics, we have a lot of modules. Today we're going to be working with General Ledger module, namely with a general journal. Last time we have created a general journal, and this is, we named it so, and we will give it a description. A description that's something that we could recognize. We're going to transfer some filament from the owner's equity to possession for this newly formed business. Let's do it. Let's do that on 2-1. So this is going to be incrementing my 15100, which is my 3D printing filament account. In this account, we are going to hold all the value for this filament, and as I mentioned, it's going to cost $33. That's the fully loaded cost in here, and the offset for this will be owner's equity, since it was transferred from owner's stock, so owner's capital. 33. Note that in here, once I save, this is the balance. Balance for the voucher, balance for the journal. In order for things to post, they should always, balance should be always 0 in here. So I'm going to go ahead and post this journal. Now let's take a look at the recording of transaction for manufacturing and a separate voucher for depreciation, since I'm going to use the time-based depreciation in here, based on the time of usage in here. So I have calculated that the cost of the filament is going to be this, and the time usage in here, I'm going to put this into the overhead costs in here, and this is going to be that, and this is going to be the balance, 675, and I save this. Right now my voucher is balanced, and when I press down, what happens is I am getting a new voucher. It's just how the system behaves. In the new voucher, I'm going to enter the depreciation expense, and that is going to be 675. And the account for this is going to be accumulated depreciation, somewhere in the 1200s in here. 399, great. And again, when I press this, it becomes balanced. So technically, the second voucher entry would happen on a periodic basis. Maybe I do depreciation monthly, but I just want to really know the true costs in here and whether I'm making money. So sometimes I even post the whole thing in one journal. It makes it for a more complicated journal, but it also gives me profitability at the same time. Now let's validate this. It's a useful function. Validation makes sure that my journal is correct, and I'm posting it to the correct things. And if you're using financial dimensions, it's gonna give you the warnings in here if you're using incorrect ones. And I wanted to draw your attention to the function of voucher templates. So this is where you could signify a voucher. For example, this is my evaporator manufacturing voucher, and I want to save it for later use. So I'm going to save it as a voucher template and use the amount values. Then I also will do this for depreciation expense in here so that I don't have to enter the same thing or remember the account names. It will make it life easier for me. So I'm going to save the voucher template. Again, I'm not going to specify in percent. Percent is really useful for distributing the whole amount in a certain proportion. So I'm going to go ahead and post this, and now what we'll have is we will have all of the value for the finished goods. We have something in there, something that we will sell in the next step for the value of $15.86. All right, now let's take a look at the sale. With the sale, you will be surprised how many charges these online marketplaces, they just bombard the sellers with the fees and all that. Now let's take a look how we create a journal for this. It's going to be a couple of vouchers in the journal in there. The sales price for the item is $22.80. Shipping that was collected based on the weight and size assumptions. So overall, all of the fees, they amount to $3.37. And when we calculate and total it up minus the fees, this is what Etsy will have to send us to the bank account so that they will owe us this amount of money. Let's take a look at the journal. Now in the new journal, let's start entering the that complex transaction of the sale in here. I'm going to first enter the easy part, which is going to be my shipping template. So this is my payment for packing services to my employees. So I'm going to owe this. This is going to be my direct labor cost, and I'm going to owe that amount of money to the employee payables. Then it's a balanced voucher, so the next one I'm going to create is going to give me a new voucher number. Now let's go ahead and post the cost of goods sold. So I'm going to go and enter the corresponding account for that. Note that I'm using the star. So finished goods, I'm going to decrement that. And the offset for this is going to be, which is cost of items, that were being sold. So 1586. Again, my voucher is balanced, my journal is balanced, so this is the end of that entry. Now let's proceed and investigate what my item related entries are, which is my sales of 3D printed goods. This is where my sales price goes. Then also what I'll get there is all of the item fees that I'm gonna incur for the sale. So I've created a separate account for this, and this is specifically for Etsy. And I'm going to go and post the fees in here. So here's an interesting thing. 148. Note that I'm using an expression here. And so these are my item related ones from the example. So 290 in here. Etsy will owe me some money specifically for the item. So what I'll put in here is the accounts receivable account. So again, the voucher becomes balanced, but we have more fees to enter in here. And I have a separate account. This is my shipping fees charged, and this is 716. Then Etsy also charged the fees on top of that, which I'm gonna post to the Etsy special accounts that I've created. And this is, they charge a commission on top of that, which was calculated to be 47 cents. 47 cents. And then Etsy is gonna owe me for whatever shipping I need to do, that minus commission. So again, and that is gonna be $6.69. Nice. So I think we're all set for this voucher. So we're gonna go ahead and validate, and I'm going to go ahead and post it. So that's it, folks. That's how we entered the first transaction. Tomorrow or soon we're gonna ship the item, enter the actual shipping in a separate journal, and see whether we made money. Then let's take a look at whether we actually made money. We don't know yet because we haven't shipped the item yet. So an expensive shipment might actually eat all the margin in there. However, if everything goes according to the plan and this $7 figure is accurate, minus the fees in here, so it's more like $6.50, then we are going to expect a profit of $2.57 on this transaction for the margin of 11.3%. So far, what we have learned is that general ledger is used to record the business activity. Everything that happens in the business will be reflected in accounting. That's why people tune in to conference calls of publicly traded companies. Then, the general journals, they record all of these events through one or more vouchers. Then, the voucher templates can be used to speed up data entry. In the next episode, we're gonna start easy with a reminder. We're going to ship the item and take a look at whether we actually made money or not. So thank you for your attention and stay tuned for the next lesson.